Hi, everyone. We're at the Metals Investor Forum, and we're doing backstage interviews. Today, I have Alberto Orozco, who is CEO of Capitan Silver. Alberto, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you, Peter. The pleasure is all mine. Thanks for having us.
So we look forward to digging into Capitan and how you've gotten here and where you're going. Maybe you can start with giving us a quick history of Capitan, its main asset, the overview of the assets within the Cruz de Plata, and bring us all up to speed.
Sure, would love to. Well, Cruz de Plata is the name of the project located in Durango, Mexico, right at the heart of the silver belt, where 80% of the silver in Mexico, top producer in the world, comes from. So it's a great location, but also great infrastructure, lots of history. There's some old mines there that date back to the late 1800s, and we're producing up to 2 kilos per ton silver, with some great values for lead and zinc. Today, we know that gold is also an important part of this whole system. Now, this is where the story starts, because in around 1908, the Mexican Revolution started brewing. A lot of these properties fragmented, passed to multiple private hands. We were just able to put the final piece of the puzzle in the consolidation of this project last month. We announced it on August 22nd, if I remember right. And with that property, we've been able not only to expand the original silver trend that we had outlined. Initially, we had a couple of isolated zones. We did a first acquisition in 2022 that gave us the connection of the system, and we outlined 2.5 kilometers of outcropping silver trend, high grade. With this new acquisition, and it came also with an oxide gold deposit that we'll talk about later. This new acquisition not only gave us an extension of 1.2 kilometers to the east on this trend, bringing it to 3.7 in total. It brings more targets and more of a full system view. We're currently compiling all of that data. We've obviously been working on that property, even though we had not acquired it yet, but trying to understand the value that was there. And we see multiple targets that will be taking shape in coming months.
Excellent. Alberto, you mentioned that you have an oxide gold deposit. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about that as well.
Right. That's called the Capitan Hill Oxide Gold Deposit. That's where the company takes its name, Capitan Hill. And it's a really interesting part of the deposit, part of this system that we are forming up. It's very similar in grade and grade distribution to what we were mining at El Castillo and San Agustin back in our Argonaut days. Close to surface, disseminated gold mineralization. There are two things to it that I think are important to mention. One, the value that deposit itself brings to the company, potentially open pittable. There's actually a 10-year-old resource estimate on that with 305,000 ounces of gold at a 0.46 gram per ton gold grade, which is low, but it's higher grade than what we were mining at El Castillo and San Agustin. So all by itself, that's going to grow because that was drilled some years ago, and we're working on an updated resource for that. But it also tells you about geology. And when we do the comparatives to all those other intermediate sulfidation epithermal systems, none of them have a disseminated gold deposit right next to it. And it tells you a couple of things geologically. One, that's the top of the system. It's the coolest part of it. So that means that our silver system is intact. It hasn't been eroded away. But it's also evidence of how rich this mineralized system is, that it has multiple pulses of mineralization. And it makes it just more interesting for exploration.
So, great overview. You've added a lot of value since the start of this year. Maybe you can tell us, give us some of the touch on the main points of the things that have happened since the start of 2025, and how you've built this tremendous value in such a short time. Well, I mean, I'm sure a lot of it's been there, but that the market's really starting to recognize at least.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's been a great year so far for us. I think the success in the share price comes probably from 3 points. One, obviously the execution. We've been able to, like I just said, not only consolidate the property, raise capital at a premium and bring a new strategic investor into our company, begin a drill program that has already started to give great drill results. So execution, I think, is a big part. We have been doing what we said we were going to do. But then you add to that the market has started to move. That's obviously a factor. We need some wind on the sail for the ship
sure.
to move. And finally, to tie it up, it really all works. I think our performance is really enhanced by that disciplined approach that we've been very carefully building since the beginning of the company. So we have one of the tightest share structures in the space. We don't have any warrants. We have our top three shareholders, Jupiter, Michael Gentili, and Construpan, a Mexican-based mining operator, own just under 40% of the shares. So we don't have a big float.
Right.
And that is all of those elements are now translating into that fantastic upside we've had in our share price. But having said that, we still see a lot of room to grow, a lot of potential for the future of Capitan.
It certainly feels like it's very early days still for Capitan.
Absolutely.
So you touched on that a little bit. Recent drilling results have generated some outstanding results, and maybe you can speak to that a little bit.
Yes. So I think it's important to explain what our strategy was with the drill program. I was explaining this trend that we outlined that grew from 2.5 kilometers to 3.7 now with this consolidation. On that original or that previous 2.5, we had some drilling. Really, that whole trend only had 12,500 meters of drilling, which is not a lot, but it was very successful in finding high-grade zones, and it was mostly concentrated to the west. So one thing that was very clear to us was that we wanted to continue expanding that to the east and finding the continuity, finding new high-grade zones, and doing that in the fastest, most cost-efficient way possible. So we set out to do shallow drill holes to cover the entire trend, all those targets that we have in that entire trend, with RC, which is, again, faster and more cost-effective. Right. We'll get to core later, and we already have a good amount of core in the program. But for this stage, what we believe brings more value, is smarter for our investors, is doing that cost-effectively and fast. And in the first 11 holes that we reported from that 10,000 meters, we had this one extension with hole 12, which was fantastic to see, to hit in the first 12 holes on a new high-grade zone. And one of our best results today in the project, I feel feels great. We have more results coming. We like what we see in the geology in the holes. We're going high definition on that close to surface zone. So we will be evaluating those results are coming. We have, I think, 40 holes that are in the lab pending for release, and there's holes coming weekly still, as we're about 80% done with the drill program. So it's getting pretty exciting.
So maybe you can tell us some of these, these big hits. What kinds of grades are we looking at?
We had 1.5 meters of 2,600 grams per ton silver over a broader intercept of 19.8 of 368. If I remember, I might be slightly wrong with the exact number, but over 300. And this is over, remember, this whole strike length we've defined over 1.45 kilometers already. That average 10-meter width has sustained. Sometimes it might go as narrow as 5. Sometimes it widens up to 40. But to keep getting these hits consistently, I think speaks to how robust amino system this is.
Absolutely. That's pretty exciting. So what's next for Capitan?
Well, there's a lot coming. We know, I think that very near term, we are going to continue to demonstrate the potential that the project has through our drill results. We are fully financed for this drill program and beyond that, so we're evaluating on how to grow that. Since we have the new consolidated property, we will be, as it becomes available in that new data and interpretation, releasing some results on that targeting as well. And obviously, we know that this is going to require a much larger, much more aggressive drill program. We want to first release some of the results that we currently have. But I have no doubt in my mind that what is going to happen is that it's going to warrant and justify a much deeper drill program. And as we continue to refine the other targets in the property, that's going to create new drill programs that we're already working on permitting as we're refining the geology as well. So we would expect for next year to be obviously expanding on drilling. It's going to deserve multiple rigs turning, and we're trying to find the right, I think we're in the right moment in the market to be going into that stage.
Sure. It sounds like, as this progresses, it could make you look attractive to other players in the industry. And, we've seen 3 big acquisitions over the last year or so. Those have been producers. But as we know, as the market progresses, evolves, they start to move slowly down the food chain. But it sounds like, I know that, we're speculating, but it sounds to me at least like, Capitan could be up there in terms of attractiveness for others.
I have no doubt. I think what we've demonstrated so far, it's really interesting. I think part of the protection we have is that it was a story that was not very visible for a while. That was part of a strategy. We were working on the consolidation of the property. We needed to start showing progress through the drill bit. But I think as we're doing it now, absolutely it becomes something very, very visible very soon, where we believe we can build tremendous value. So it's a good thing that we have we have 70% of our shares in few hands. Right. That's part of a protection we have for that, because we believe we have a long way to go still in the value creation at Cruz de Plata.
Well, thank you for this tremendous overview, summary, and even some significant detail on Capitan. And I'm sure viewers will enjoy digging in and looking more closely and seeing the potential that you have going forward.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you for the opportunity, Peter, and stay tuned. There's lots of news coming.
Look forward to it. Thanks again, Alberto.